Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing. Welcome to my 2024 studio tour. This is my 4th year of doing a studio tour in July, so I thought I'd give you a sneak peek at my studio. The recording of this was really difficult. Shout out to my grandson Tanner, who is holding the camera. I'm holding my phone and doing the actual videoing here. The room it looks kind of spacious, but it's actually only 100 feet by 110, so it's not all that big, and as you can see, I've fully utilized all of the space available. So some of the clips are a little bit challenging because of tight spaces and trying to get in there and open drawers and such, as well as just try to get an angle with the phone that is helpful. So just giving you a panoramic view of the studio itself. As you probably are noticing, I do have a lot of pretty things in here because I like to be surrounded with things that bring me joy. So we're going to start now and pan here a little bit more mid-range of the room. I do store my stencils on the back of the door there, as you can see, at least the larger ones. So giving you just a view here of the lower section, so you can see kind of the layout of the entire room. Those are calyx units that I have there. Love, love, love that for storage. I've revised it many times, and as I've been able to afford replacing things. This has been about a 5-year project, so I'm finally where I want to be, and this is exactly how I want my studio to be. So very grateful to have the space. So just finishing off there with a rounding back to the door, and then we'll start taking a deeper look into some of the drawers and things here in the room. So yeah, just another pan here. This is a very small space here. It's only about 19 inches between the desk and the shelves that are on the walls, so it was tricky. So again, shout out to my grandson. So that's where I keep my printer ink. And then this miscellaneous drawer is where I kind of throw like notebooks and things that I take notes in, keep list of ideas and things like that. This is a drawer with my large punches that don't fit in some of my other spaces a little bit closer to my work area. These are kits that I printed out that I hope to use in the near future, so that's what that drawer is. And in this bottom, so I guess we're going back up, sorry. That drawer is not labeled, but that is where I keep some of my watercolor paints just for a quick grab and go. This is a drawer that's pretty messy. It's got all my templates and notes and things like that about how I make things. The 2 drawers here are all my jelly printing supplies, and I used to have them in a much less convenient space, I guess. So these baskets here, I'm going to show you this one. This is new storage. They're a clear pouch that I'm keeping my ephemera in. So I'll give you a closer look with some photos at the end of those. So those 4 baskets are ones that have already been sorted, not yet labeled, or they are a mishmash of things I still need to kind of work on. Those are junk mail envelopes and other discarded envelopes that I'll repurpose. This drawer is packaging, which is not very much compared to what I had. So I did do a huge purge right when school got out, and I got rid of a lot of things. This is paper bags and other, like you can see there, tin boxes and things like that. And then this is my drawing supply basket. And then what else was I going to say here? I'm so sorry, guys. This editing has been really difficult. So I hope that you're okay with the transitions. I had to choose a different one to kind of change the abruptness of what we're doing here and how we had to piece this together. So that bin there that you saw is coffee dyed lace and things like that. There's 2 bins there. And then here is my liquid watercolor, Waverly paints, Dina Wakley paints, and Dilutions. These are ones I don't really use all that much. I hope to do some jelly printing and get those out and use them a little bit more. That is my die. Those are my die cuts there. And I will try to remember to link like the pouches and things that I used as well. If I forget anything and you have questions, you can always ask. And these are my little Arteza tubes and then some India ink and such. Embossing folders. And keep in mind, I know that this can be kind of overwhelming to watch, the amount of supplies I have, but I've been an artist for a really long time, transitioned from mixed media to watercolor and then into journal making. So have a lot of collection that I have accumulated over a long period of time. So that you can see by the label what is in these drawers. Liquitex acrylics, golden acrylics are my favorite artist acrylic paints that I use a lot in mixed media work. And this is how I spool my lace. I purchased these little spools on Amazon because they're already cut for me, and that's how I can keep my stuff in order. That is smaller dyed lace, just like more the smaller bits, the little snippets and such. And so many of the drawers that you're going to see here are more of the spooled lace. I'm pointing up here. We can't get to those drawers because they're too tall to get the camera up there, but you can see by the label what is in them. And then here, just continuing with the spooled lace. This is the best solution that I've ever tried, and it helps me to keep them really neat and tidy. I can always see what I have, and then I'm not duplicate buying and things like that. I cannot buy anymore, though. I have no more room. So yeah, and that's a transition where just getting the angle here, even for this space, is probably about 25 inches between my chair and these cubes, so it was really tricky for Tanner to get in there and get an angle shot there. So I think he did a pretty good job, though. He was a great partner in crime, so to speak. That's my messy cabinet there. The material is what I use to put down on my desk to film. That's all of my mixed media supplies. Again, I've been doing this a long time, so I have accumulated quite a bit. And I wish that I had uncovered that stuff. There's just a variety of other, they're open acrylics and my sponges, and then these are my Golden High Flow, Liquitex Gouache, and Jane Davenport paints, which again, I hope to use the Jane Davenport because I don't use them, and I think they work great in mixed media. In jelly printing, excuse me. My favorite golden fluid acrylics. These are one of my most used supplies. You can probably see by the drawer. There's paint on it from me reaching and touching and grabbing for things. These are my acrylic inks, Liquitex, and I believe Daler and Rowney for the most part. And then here we're panning over here to my desk. This is to the left of where I actually work. I've got the smaller stencils there on the side of the cabinet. And this storage solution for small ephemera is the bomb, and I will link it as well. I have a lot of empty ones because I combined and I organized those when I got out of school, as I mentioned earlier. So just giving you a view of things up here. I love, again, to have beautiful things around me, things that bring me joy. This entire space inspires me, and it keeps me smiling, it keeps me grateful, and it's just a great space to create in. But that being said, I want you to know that this is not where I started, and I'll actually try to put in a clip of, or a picture of my filming setup when I first started, which was about not quite 5 years ago. So I've come a long way, just time and experience. So. And I apologize we didn't get very close to those acrylic drawers. There's just a variety of stuff in there that I can't really look at right now while I'm doing the voiceover, but and we will be looking in these drawers here momentarily, just not in the acrylic ones. Let's let this pan over a little bit here. This is what I'm looking at when I'm filming. So this is obviously my computer, my arm that my webcam is on is right there, and we'll get a side angle of it here in a little while. And so again, here is the surface space, hopefully a okay transition. This is, these are what I call my grab and go supplies. So these are things that I like to have on hand so that I can just reach and choose. And I know where everything is. That's why it's important for me to label things, because when you get a lot of supplies, it can be really, really hard to not forget about what you have. So again, these are the things I have here because I want to be able to access them. So that drawer has Post-it notes, and I think the Post-it notes got moved, charger, stapler, bling, tape, things like that. This bottom drawer is my smaller paper and doilies. And then panning back over here so I can give you a closer look of this space and these drawers. So in this drawer I have my Pearl-Ex powders and my Art Alchemy waxes. The ones on the right are the tins, and they're mostly dried up. I need to just dispose of them. The tubes are working out a lot better. Color Burst infusions and brush shows in this drawer. And my grandson was actually holding the phone and opening the drawers here because I couldn't get in the space. I couldn't get in the space with him. So I tell you, he was a trooper, though. We had quite a bit of laughter as we were filming this, knowing that we were going to cut out the audio. So yeah, in there is all my re-inkers and things like embossing supplies. Over here is my watercolor paper. You're going to see an actual watercolor painting that just happens to be on the top. This is mostly just white watercolor paper unused. And then going back down here in the bottom drawer, oh, and this one is Fun Bits. This is where I just throw everything that I don't know what to do with. I really need to go through it because there's probably something precious in there that I could use, but I have not gotten there yet. And then down here we've got some manuals for different equipment in the studio, my acetate, and some other notes and things like that, more kind of administrative stuff. The pink and green box there you see, I mentioned it in a previous video. That was my mother-in-law's silverware drawer thing. I believe her husband, my father-in-law, made it for her, but I painted it and I have my washi tape in it now, and that's a new change, so I can just reach and grab it. So in the top drawer there is all of my glues and adhesives that can fit in a drawer, mini inks, pads, alpha stamps, Brad's jewelry, and ink daubers are in that one. And then beads and bead tools. It looks like there is a drawer that is not labeled. I completely missed that. But these are things that are like literally not even an arm's length away from where I'm sitting, which is really nice. I do a lot of moving around, so that's why some drawers are not labeled. That's some kind of what I call the grab and go stamps, smaller stamps that I use in mixed media or that I want to be able to use in a journal, just a quickie. So just a variety of things in here, index cards, some Tim Holtz ephemera. And then down here, I don't think this is completely labeled correctly, but because I think I moved the faces out and they're in one of those clear folders that I showed you a little bit earlier, but we will, you'll be able to see some pictures too at the end of the video. This cabinet, this is a Kallax 2x2 that sits at the end of my work area, and that holds a lot of paper and some baskets. They're project baskets. That's where I'm keeping my Junk Journal July supplies are in a basket, and then another basket for some of the papers for that challenge. And then over here is more of my printer paper, various weights and things like that. And we're not going to open the bins at the bottom, but those are vintage books in all the 4 bins that go across the bottom of this unit. And sorry, I skipped around there a little bit. This was quite tricky to figure out how to do, and he's trying to get in the cabinets, and he's holding the phone as well as opening. So that's where I keep all my ink pads. And this is where I keep my coffee paper and my lifesavers, apparently, and my jar for coffee when I need to bring some into the studio. So, yeah. And then going back up and going into these drawers, this is where I keep my watercolor paints. These are just the smaller palettes. And again, I've been doing watercolor for probably close to 10 years, so I have accumulated quite a bit of that as well. This drawer here is all of my metal ephemera. Some of it's already been gessoed. Again, I used to do a lot more mixed media than I do now, so I do have a lot of that from from before. So this is the unit that sits on the other side of my desk that's in that space that's only about 18 or 19 inches between. So in that top drawer is my vintage ephemera. That's things I've collected as well as things I've purchased, primarily from Vanessa. So I've got 2 drawers of that, and they're kind of mixed up now because I had to kind of consolidate. So I can't really differentiate what's mine versus what I've purchased, but it's all vintage ephemera. Those are my wax supplies. This drawer is the clay supplies. I have a lot of clay molds. Again, I used to do a lot more mixed media, so I need to get my feet wet with that more. These bins here are just kind of miscellaneous. Sometimes they're things that need to be sorted. They can be future projects. That is a drawer of just cords and chargers and things like that. Towels and rags. One of those baskets at the bottom has the supplies for starting my legacy journal, which will be a family junk journal that I'm making using pieces of my wedding dress and such that I've mentioned before. These are the drawer I just opened down below is regular craft acrylics. These are my Deco Art paints. I absolutely love Deco Art Americana for craft acrylics. They're really great and reliable. This drawer is alcohol ink supplies, alcohol inks, and then the drawer up above is also supplies for alcohol ink projects. So, and a couple of heat tools there. I also used to teach, so I have a lot of supplies because I used to teach as well, do workshops, which I no longer do. So gloves, parchment, and tape in here, and rubber bands, it looks like. I needed a place to put some of those random things that I still need to find, you know, and use. So this is another mishmash drawer of those kinds of things, my label maker and my weight, what do you call that, weigh machine? Packaging. So this is brown packaging, white packaging from, you know, you get those Amazon boxes and you always get a lot of that packaging. This is all tissue paper. Some of it I use for gifts and things, but others I use for actual art. And over here is sitting at the end of the row, that narrow row, or on the other side of my desk, excuse me. And we're just panning up here. I've got a huge stamp collection as well because I'm also a card maker, something that I don't do as much of, but I'm not willing to relinquish any of those supplies. This is my playful corner. I absolutely love everything there. Many of those things were given to me by my grandchildren, so it's really, really special and makes me very happy to look at that. And it's like right to kind of catty corner from where I see it. It's always in my mind's eye, which is nice. As you can see, I've got a rack there on the door. I moved all of my inks there, my spray inks, and that works out really well. This was a really tricky spot because, again, there's only 18, 19 inches between this, and Tanner's really tall, and so he's like trying to squat down and take the video and go slow so that we could see the labels and things like that. So hopefully now that, because I've been yakety-yakking, you can see actually what's in them by looking at the labels. So I apologize, I was talking all over that segment, but hopefully you can get the gist of it. And then this is the very bottom shelf, which was really, really tricky to get. So thankful for Tanner. I know I keep saying that, but I am. This was take 2, so we were really hoping it was gonna work out well. So, but that is basically my studio. I'm gonna go ahead and he's gonna pan one more time around the room, and I just want to say, please. Watch all the way to the end because you will also see some photos where I took some close-ups, so that if you want to see a still picture of various parts of the studio, you can reference that, as well as I'll insert that photo I mentioned before, which was my very first bungee cord filming setup. So it was a hoot. So I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.